Hi, everybody. It's Miss Amy and Abigail, and I am here to bring you chapter 23 of Roald Dahl's James and the Giant Peach. Now, remember, boys and girls, we do not own the rights to this book. We just own the book, and we're glad we get to share it with you. I'm only reading one chapter today, but, Abigail thought she'd come around and just sit with me and make silly faces while I read if she wants to, I suppose. Hi, Abigail.
Hi.
Anyways, so when we left in chapter 22, James and all his friends, all the little creatures, had put their plan into play, and they wrapped the string from the silkworm and spider around the seagull's neck, trying to choke him. No, not really. They were trying to get the peach to lift up into the sky so they could get away from the sharks. And so the peach had began to rise. So now we're going to find out, did it go all the way up or did it just work a little bit? So here we go. In a flash, everybody was on top of the peach, of course. Oh, isn't it beautiful? They cried. What a marvelous feeling. Goodbye, sharks. Bye-bye, Jaws. Oh boy, this is the way to travel. Miss Spider, who was literally squealing with excitement, grabbed the centipede by the waist, and the two of them started dancing. Abigail didn't know I was going to do that. They started dancing around the peach stem. Together, the earthworm stood up on his tail and did a sort of wiggle of joy all by himself. The old green grasshopper kept hopping higher and higher in the air. The ladybug rushed over to James and shook James warmly by the hand. The glowworm, who was at best of times was a very shy and silent creature, sat glowing with pleasure near the tunnel entrance. Even the silkworm, looking white and thin and completely exhausted, her and Spider were the one who did all the work, came creeping out of a tunnel to watch this miraculous ascent. Now remember, boys and girls, ascend is up, descend is down. So the peach is ascending. Up and up they went, and soon they were as high as the top of a church steeple above the ocean. I'm a bit worried about the peach, James said to the others as soon as all the dancing and shouting had stopped. I wonder how much damage those sharks have done to it underneath. It's quite impossible to tell up here. Why don't I go over the side and make an inspection, Miss Spider said. It'll be no trouble at all, I assure you. And without waiting for an answer, she quickly produced a length of silk thread and attached it to the end of the peach stem. Now here is a picture, boys and girls, of all the seagulls, and here's all the string attached to the stem of the peach. Here's all the creature friends and James. And down here we have all our sharks. Remember, those sharks were jabbing at the peach. I wonder how much damage there is and if they've made a lot of holes. I'll be back in a jiffy, she said, and then she walked calmly over to the edge of the peach and jumped off, paying out the thread behind her as she fell. The others crowded anxiously around the place where she had gone. Wouldn't it be dreadful if the thread broke? The ladybug said. There was a rather long silence. Are you all right, Miss Spider? Shouted the old green grasshopper. Miss Amy did the wrong voice. Let me try that again. Are you all right? Oh, excuse me. Are you all right, Miss Spider? Shouted the old green grasshopper. Yes, thank you, her voice answered from below. I'm coming up now. And up she came, climbing foot over foot of the silk thread, and at the same time tucking the thread back cleverly into her body as she climbed past it. Have you ever heard about thread going back into spiders? Have you, boys and girls? I don't know if it does. That would be a good question for Google. Also, one of the people that I subscribe to here on Facebook, his name is Coyote Pearson, and his page is Brave Wilderness. He does lots of creature stories, and he's a lot of fun, and he's a good old hoot. He might have a video on spiders. We're going to have to look into this and find out if spiders retract their webs sometimes. Things that make you go, Is it awful? They asked her. Is it all eaten away? Are there great holes in it everywhere? Miss Spider clambered back onto the deck with a pleased but also rather puzzled look on her face. You won't believe this, she said, but actually, there's hardly any damage down there at all. The peach is almost untouched. There are just a few tiny pieces out of it here and there, but nothing more. You must be mistaken, James told her. Of course she's mistaken, the centipede said. I promise you I'm not, Miss Spider answered. But there were hundreds of sharks around us. They churned the water into a froth. We saw their great mouths opening and shutting. I don't care what you saw, Miss Spider answered. They certainly didn't do much damage on the peach. Then why did we start sinking? The centipede asked. Perhaps we didn't start sinking, the old green grasshopper suggested. Perhaps we were all so frightened that we simply imagined it. Have you ever laid in bed and started imagining creepy things? No? I know just walking out that door when I go from one place to another when it's dark outside, I let my imagination stir a little bit. I'm thankful it's usually just my imagination, but it sounds like in the panic, the creatures and James may have imagined it a little bit. I wonder if that's true. This, in point of fact, was closer to the truth than any of them. A shark, you see, has an extremely long, sharp nose, and its mouth is set very awkwardly underneath its face and along way back. This makes it more or less impossible for it to get its teeth into a vast, smooth, curving surface, such as the side of a peach. Even if the creature turns onto its back, it still can't do it because the nose always gets in the way. The shark is a little bit of a Pinocchio. The nose gets in the way. If you have ever seen a small dog, woof woof, trying to get its teeth into an enormous ball, ah, 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 then you will be able to imagine roughly how it was with the sharks and the peach. It must have been some kind of magic, the ladybug said. The holes must have healed up by themselves. Oh, look! There's a ship below us, shouted James. Everybody rushed to the side and peered over. None of them had ever seen a ship before. It looks like a big one. It's got 3 funnels. Yes, you can see the people on the decks. Let's wave to them. Do you think they can see us? Neither James nor any of the others knew it, but the ship was now passing beneath them was actually the Queen Mary sailing out of the England Channel on her way to America. Now, there is a boat called the Queen Mary, boys and girls. I know, because I don't know if it's a replica or if it's the real Queen Mary, but in California they have one there, and it's stationed there, and you can go tour it. It's like a big old museum. I've never been there, but hey, I don't know. So this is a true story, the Queen Mary, not James and the Giant Peach. This is fiction, nonfiction, fiction, fake news.
Nice.
We're going to have to look that one up too. Go ahead, look it up.
I don't have my phone.
She doesn't have her phone, because now we're both confused. The Queen Mary is truth, and James and the Giant Peach is fake. Fiction and nonfiction have always actually really confused me. And I always say, not fake, not fact. Which one do I say, Abigail?
It's fiction.
This is fiction. So this is fake fiction. And the Queen Mary is not fake. It's fact. So nonfiction, fiction. Now that we've cleared that up and look crazy, just a little forgetful. No, really, we knew the answer the whole time. We were just trying to give you a fiction, nonfiction test. Oh, no? Okay. All right. You're supposed to go along with it. All right, anyway, so the Queen Mary was sailing out of the English Channel on her way to America, and on the bridge of the Queen Mary, the astonished means shocked, in awe. The astonished captain was standing with a group of his officers, all of them gaping at the great round ball hovering overhead. Wonder if they caught any flies in their mouths. I don't like it, the captain said. Nor do I, said the first officer. Do you think it's following us? Said the second officer. I tell you, I don't like it, muttered the captain. It could be dangerous, the first officer said. That's cried the captain. My voice changes with every time. It's a secret weapon. Holy cats! Send a message to the Queen at once. The country must be warned, and give me my telescope. The first officer handed the telescope to the captain. The captain put it to his eye. There's birds everywhere, he cried. The whole sky is teeming with birds. What in the world are they doing? And wait a second. There are people on it. I can see them moving. There's, do I dare have this darn thing focused right? It looks like a little boy in short trouser. Yes, I can distinctly see a little boy in short trousers standing up there. And there's a sort of giant ladybug. Now wait a minute, Captain, the first officer said. And a colossal green grasshopper. Captain, the first officer said sharply. Captain, please. And a mammoth spider. Oh dear, he's been at the whiskey again, whispered the second officer. And an simply enormous centipede, screamed the captain. Call the ship's doctor, the first officer said. Our captain is not well. A moment later, the great round ball disappeared into a cloud, and the people on the ship never saw it again. Here is the ship's captain and his men looking through the telescope. Boys and girls, that concludes chapter 23 of James and the Giant Peach. And we'll never tell the truth if we knew the difference between fiction or nonfiction, or we were faking you. Did we know it or didn't we? Or was it just absent-minded? Oops, I forgot. You'll never know. I'll never tell the truth. Thank you, boys and girls, for enjoying Roald Dahl's James and the Giant Peach with Abigail and I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. So, if you're watching this before bedtime, good night and
Sleep tight.